Hey Physics Labs, this is the video talking about the analysis software Logger Pro for our motion lab. So you'll need to download Logger Pro, put it on your computer. You'll also need to download your movies that you made. Okay, they need to be on the machine that you're working on. This will not work if you leave them on your phone. So you have to find them on your phone, download them on the computer. You can always use one of our computers here in the chemistry building. Just let us know. Okay, so you will insert your movie. Your movie is going to be somewhere on your machine. Okay, I have one here that's part of this software. So you're going to have your own movies. So you'll insert it and then you try to make it a little bit bigger, and that never works for me. So let me get it back. Okay, sorry folks. I had to just do that with a different mouse to get it back. You want to make this, if that happens to you, you right click and move the graph to the back. Sometimes the video movie gets hidden behind it. So anyway, you'll get your video. And once you have it, the first step you'll need to do is go down here to the bottom, and I can't make these any bigger on my computer, so they're tiny little buttons, but hopefully you'll be able to see. You want to open this up. Okay, so all this does is open up this extra little display, and then you'll go through the steps as they're shown in your lab manual. I'm going to go through them super quick. One thing you're going to want to do is set the origin. Okay, this will be your 0, 0 position and time. So you want to go through your movie and find the place where the ball leaves your hands. Okay, where is that frame where the ball is leaving your hands? I'm going to call it there. This is going to be 0, 0, and that's where I'm going to set my origin. Okay, there's my origin. You're also going to have to set your scale. This is why you needed a meter stick or a ruler or something that you know the exact length of in your movie. In this movie, I know that between those little markers right there is 1 meter. You need to set it to whatever it is. If it's your ruler, do it in centimeters. If you have a meter stick, if you want to borrow a meter stick from us, okay? Then, this is the little bit tedious but very important point. This is how you get your data. You add points. And what this does is you will need to click on the same place on the ball every time. I'm going to click, see, I clicked accidentally, and there it went. So I need to right click, I need to go move to front. Sometimes when you're doing this, sorry, I need to move the graph to the back so I get my picture back. Don't try to do this on a tablet with a stylus and a touchpad mouse. Okay, anyway, folks, we add our points, right? And what we want to do is click on the very center of that ball. We're in the same position every time. And I'm going to do this kind of fast for the sake of the video, but you want to be as careful as possible, because you will find if you try to do this too quickly and you sometimes click on the bottom of the ball rather than in the center of the ball, it'll show up in your data points. You need to do this for the entire range of motion of the ball. So when the ball hits the ground or when the ball is caught by another person. Keep going, keep going. I am not going to do that in this example. I'm going to click over here on the graph, and you'll see immediately what it shows is position versus time. X is red, Y is blue. So this will be your basic data. Nice thing about this is you can show lots of different things. So you click on that, you can plot X versus time, Y versus time, X velocity versus time, Y velocity versus time. When you go in your data sheets, your answer sheets, it will ask you what to plot. So first, Y velocity versus time. So I can go to my graph in Logger Pro, and I can click here and I say, oh, I want to look at Y velocity versus time. Okay. Notice while I'm here, look at this bubble. That's because I wasn't careful with the data here. So if you get that, That's because you went too quickly with your clicking. Okay, let me show you a little bit of analysis. I'm just going to go back here to X versus time. You'll notice that what I did right there, you can highlight portions of your data, just click and drag. When you do that, you are only going to be analyzing the grade portion. One important analysis tool you're going to need is a linear fit. The linear fit button looks like this. If you have an older version of the software, it has a little R equals next to it. That's what's in the lab manual, but it basically looks like a slope fit. If you do that, notice it only is fitting in the gray area, and it gives me the slope in the correct units, meters per second. If you get a really weird number here, that probably means you didn't set your scale correctly. Okay, so make sure these numbers make sense because you may need to go back and reset your scale. Okay, you can X this out. I can click over here. If I do the linear fit without the grayed area, I get the linear fit for the whole thing. The grayed area, the highlighting is useful if you have some funky data points at the beginning or the end and you want to eliminate them. So that's one analysis, is to get the entire slope. It might also be useful to see how the slope is changing by looking at kind of the instant slope. That's this button with the curve and the little flat line. The older versions, it has an M. This is the tangent. So at any data point here, it will give you the instantaneous velocity in this case, because we're position versus time, the instantaneous slope. So you can see, is my slope changing? And you can see that because my data is not perfect, it changes a little bit. Here's some of those bad data points, right? So I see a bigger change there. But in general, it's staying pretty much around 3. That's telling me that my slope is constant. It's not increasing or decreasing. Right, the last little data analysis that you're going to be using is to find that displacement. Here it's the integral right here. That gives me the area under the curve. And look at my units here. This is a position versus time graph, so this isn't very useful. So my units are meters times seconds. That's not meaningful. We're going to be using this integral when we're talking about velocity versus time graphs. Let me go to the y velocity, it's a little prettier. Okay, y velocity versus time, we look at the integral again. And now we have meters per second per second. Okay, so meters per second times second, I'm sorry. So the seconds cancel, and you're left with meters. Remember, this is a displacement. Look what we have here. We have some positive displacement and we have some negative displacement below the 0 line. This is giving me the total, the net, the positive plus the negative. So be careful with that as you're answering your questions. Okay, so that's your basic analysis. Your lab manual has lots of directions for that. You're going to come here and you are going to answer these questions. You'll have that plot on Logger Pro, so you'll need to make a similar plot here. What's it going to look like? Which quadrant is it in? Positive, negative, whatever. You just sketch it out. You don't need to put my individual data and all that. Give me some rough guidelines. Let's go back here. Look, this is velocity versus time. It starts out positive around a little more than 4, ends up negative, -2. Okay, so what you can do when you're doing your sketch here is you can make a sketch that looks like this, and you can say, oh, this is 4 and this is -2, right? So you can give me some sense, but it is a sketch. If you really want to take a screenshot and paste it in, you can also do that, right? You can copy it. And then you're going to go through a series of questions. What's happening to the slope? What is the slope? Remember, you can find the slope by using that linear fit button. What is the slope? How is that related to gravity? We will need to take our information and relate it back to the physics here. Okay? And, you know, what about the height? That's our integral button. So you'll go through this for each movie, okay? So movie 1, movie 2, it tells you what it is. You will sketch out certain plots, answer all of the questions using the software. The only calculation you will need to make is percent difference. Okay, that is the only one. If you are trying to calculate slope or acceleration, you need to go back and think, how is that related to the plot? How can I use my software to think about that? Okay, everything's going to come from the software except for that percent difference. Alrighty, I think that is the major points. And we will end there. Let us know if you have questions.